Although separated by thousands of years, archetypal similarities allow for Beowulf and Django Unchained to share similarities with regards to character, setting, and plot. In Beowulf, the setting provided by the mead hall creates a suspenseful showdown between Grendel and Beowulf. As it is a relatively confined space, this creates an inevitable combat between the two powerhouses. This plays into Beowulf's strength of hand-to-hand combat. In this battle, Beowulf proves his worth to the nearby King Hrothgar, who now knows Beowulf's full power and potential. Similarly, the setting in Django's first battle, Icy Mountains, plays into his strength of long-range gunplay. While isolating themselves at the top of the mountain, Django can easily execute the runaway slave masters that came after Django and Schultz earlier in the film. By pulling off seemingly impossible shots one after another, Django, similarly to Beowulf, shows his true value and potential to his mentor, King Schultz. A second key setting in Beowulf is the notorious swan habitat owned by Grendel and his mother. It is a setting where Beowulf must battle the revenge-hungry mother of Grendel. This setting seems to fit right into her hands, as she is familiar with it. However, Beowulf manages to narrowly defeat her and escapes the swamp even with greater quests in mind. Django's second altercation occurs in the typical Old Western town of Docherty, where Django and Schultz set to knock out the corrupt and supremely bigoted town sheriff. Much like Grendel's mother's swamp, the setting of the scene makes it seem as if the duo have no prospect of making out of the city alive, as officers swarm them, but they are cunning and use the power of words to escape a setting of certain doom. Thirdly, Beowulf's final battle with the dragon in Geatland. The setting is supremely imposing and despite being an open air, feels extremely confined due to the dragon's unparalleled speed and range. It is obvious that due to the atmosphere, Beowulf would be hard-pressed to make it out of the situation alive. The setting diverts into a moment of empowering to Wiglaf, who becomes the hero by displaying extreme loyalty and kinship. The overall goal of the fight is for Beowulf to transition into his future setting, an afterlife of continual recognition, by building a tower. Comparatively, the final battle scene in Django Unchained occurs in the lavish home of fighter slave master Calvin Candie. Candie is the owner of Django's wife, Broomhilda, so Django and Schultz conceive a plan to extract her from the house. Similar to Beowulf, by muscling through the previous setting, he's able to transition into a setting of long-lasting happiness through the form of being with his love, Broomhilda.
Django is the archetypal hero in the story, a former slave turned bounty hunter to help Dr. King Schultz with his work. Django's quest is to save his wife Broomhilda from the slave owner Calvin Candie. Django can be directly compared to Beowulf in terms of their bravery, strength, and intelligence. Dr. King Schultz is the archetypal mentor in the movie. He is a dentist who also works as a bounty hunter. Schultz comes across Django in the beginning of the movie while he's hunting the Speck brothers. Schultz gives Django his freedom in exchange for his services. Schultz is like Hrothgar in that they both need the hero in some way. Hrothgar needed Beowulf to rid his mead hall of the evil, and Schultz needed Django to identify the Brittle brothers, whom Schultz had a warrant for. Calvin Candie is the main antagonist in the movie. He is a slave owner that owns Django's wife Broomhilda, whom he acquired through questionable means. He is portrayed as wealthy, classy, and charismatic, but also vile. The other side of Candie can be compared to Grendel because Candie uses slaves as fighters in Mandingo fights. Stephen is a mere second antagonist to Django in the movie. He is second to Candie and believes that blacks should be slaves. He can be compared to Grendel's mother because they are antagonists to Django and Beowulf comparatively.
Both Django and Beowulf are introduced into an environment in which they are needed by someone in a higher position in society. Django is needed by Dr. King Schultz to help with a bounty hunt, while Beowulf is needed by King Hrothgar to defeat the monster affecting Heorot. Both heroes are presented with challenges. Dr. King Schultz asks for Django's assistance tracking down the Brittle brothers who are wanted for murder. In exchange for his help, he will receive his freedom. This challenge is similar to Beowulf's as it involves a journey into hostile places and battles with people who mean to do the heroes harm. Django travels through the pre-Civil War South in search for his wife. This was an extremely dangerous place for a freed slave. This is similar to Beowulf traveling to Grendel's mother's underwater home, where he's attacked not only by Grendel's mother, but the sea monsters living there. Both heroes are also encouraged by a mentor. The older, more experienced Dr. King Schultz teaches Django how to shoot and fight. He also teaches him how to read and interact in a society after life as a slave. Hrothgar could be seen as a mentor to Beowulf, as he has been king for many years and has fought difficult battles before. After being defeated once, Django returns to the plantation where his wife is being held captive. It is there he launches his final assault in an attempt to free her. He comes prepared with multiple weapons and dynamite and is met with a large amount of resistance from the surrounding farmers. Beowulf's final battle holds similar significance as he is fighting the dragon that is attacking his subjects.